Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's webinar, Facilities Management of Tomorrow, AI and Trends for the Road Ahead. I'm Jennifer Getz, the Editorial Director of Facility Executive Magazine, and this webinar is presented by ARC Facilities.
Jennifer, thank you so much. And thank you everybody for joining me today. And this is a near and dear topic to my heart as I've seen the evolution of technologies in the built space really evolve. And I think that this is really exciting and hopefully this dispels some of the myths that I think a lot of folks have out there for technologies and how AI is going to really impact that. So what we're going to really cover today is the facilities management revolution, and it's a big one, and it's coming quickly, and how predictive maintenance strategies help orgs transition from that reactive approach and break-fix approach to a more proactive maintenance environment. Get ahead of things. And also why operating buildings will continue to require a more sophisticated skill set. Your team's going to grow and your team that you bring in is going to have more of that sophisticated skill set. And we'll talk about some of the applications of that. Also, how technology and AI can help you better predict that long-term planning needs for your sites, for your multiple sites. And then we'll look at some strategies for long-term success. So let's really jump in and talk about that revolution. And Information 2.0, I'm calling this, is how we consume info today. And that's your socials. Think about your day-to-day life and how you're really digesting information, how you're receiving information today. And we get it in multiple different facets. But at the end of the day, where we really comes down to is how we access information and how we see information, receive information for our buildings. And I think at the end of the day, what it really comes down to is it's real time. It's fast. We're getting instant access to that information, no matter what it is. But we've also evolved quickly through the process of, we used to go into an office, we would report back to certain places, and this is leadership approach. We would go report to an office, and then we went to this quickly. Sitting in a chair outside with a virtual background. And if you notice that, I thought it was kind of funny. You guys got a beverage on the other side of his laptop, but that's how our world has evolved as a whole. Is we went from a more formal approach to, listen, I can access information wherever the heck I am. Okay, and I love the expression is, your office is where the Wi-Fi is. That's where we're at today, because you have access to a computer everywhere you are. That computer's in your pocket. It's your phone. It's your tablet, wherever the heck you are. It's a laptop. It's a desktop. Wherever you are, you can access information. Couldn't have said that, 20 years ago. That's where we are today. And that's in our everyday lives, but it also impacts our business. But facilities management revolution to me means the world of facilities management undergoing this just profound transformation, and it's evolving so quickly. Where that's coming into play really is personal technology is revolutionizing that. Okay, that's what I was talking about. Our phones, accessing information real time, wherever the heck you are. But our industry is leveraging that with AI to help us with some of those predictive maintenance things that are coming up. And you'll see a little bit more about this here in a few minutes, but it's helping us to enhance that productivity, reduce costs, reduce time. I equate time to costs. Okay, the longer it takes, the more money it costs you, but also helps you really elevate your overall team experience, your overall team efficiency, but it also helps reduce that risk. If something goes sideways, it can help you mitigate some of that. So here's the challenge too. Many folks that I've spoke to, field technicians around the country, are scared to death of technology. They're scared to death of AI. In many cases, it's usually the older folks that come in that I talk to. It's going to take my job. I hear that over and over and over again. And I push back hard on that. AI is not going to take your job. AI is going to help you make better decisions, but it's also going to help you with suggestions of things. It's not going to replace the filter. It's not going to swap out the motor. It's not going to hear the thing that you're going to hear with your ears. It's still going to require people to go out in the field. But AI is not the Terminator, okay? I took this picture the other day down at Planet Hollywood. I live in Florida. And I thought this was funny because that's where I hear a lot is, oh no, it's the Terminator. It's going to take my job. It's going to do this. It's going to do that. It's not going to climb the ladder and fix that unit that's on the roof. Okay, it's not going to do that. It may give you a heads up, hey, something's going sideways, okay, through sensor technology, through other things. It might give you a heads up that something's going wrong, but it's not going to go up there and fix it, okay? I want to dispel that because that's reality. It's not going to fix that device, right? But I think it's also going to drive user adoption. So think about this. It's not going to replace that filter, change that bearing, or swap out the motor in that unit, but it's going to give you those heads up. But I think it starts from the top. Okay, think about it this way. You're in leadership. Your team needs to really embrace technology as a tool. Okay, it's just like a wrench, right? But AI is not going to turn the wrench. Okay, AI is going to tell you that it's time to go fix something. It's something's not working. It's not functioning properly. Okay, it's going to go out there and just it's scouring all your other systems and seeing, hey, wait a minute, this is running I noticed the energy consumption's more on this unit this month, this week, and it's getting worse over time. It's going to be able to suggest that your team go check it out, go find out what's going on and help diagnose those things faster, right? Not wait for it to break and then all of a sudden it's a 911 and everybody's scrambling trying to fix it. It's going to give you a heads up that something's going wrong and maybe you need to get out there and check it. But also it's going to help educate your teams on, listen, we've had multiple calls on this thing. You might want to check out, and multiple calls have been on X, Y, or Z, and it's been the same call over time. So again, give you a heads up of what's going on and also give you some of that history of what's been going on. But again, I cannot stress this enough. It's a tool. That's what it is. It's just a tool. And I was talking offline to Jennifer, and a couple of our folks that are on the call about this. And I said, think about it, this way. I was talking to my dad and my mom this week, and they're older, and I was joking that my phone keeps blowing up, and they live on the West Coast and I'm on the East Coast, and my phone blows up in the middle of the night because they're sending me reels. They're sending me TikToks. They're sending me all these different funny things to them. Okay. And, it's a midnight here, but I look over and I look at my phone, and I talked to my dad this morning about it. I said, my gosh, you're blowing my phone up because I keep seeing this funny video of this. And then, it says, hey, also you might check out this, or you know what, you might check out that one, because they're starting to click on things that are funny or relevant for them. That's AI. AI is making suggestions about, hey, you thought that one was funny and you clicked on this similar thing 5 times or similar things 5 times. That's AI. It's learning from what you're doing. Well, think about that from your team's perspective. It will learn the more your team's doing stuff, it's going to learn some of those trends and things that your team's doing, and then make those kinds of recommendations to your team. So they don't just have to remember it. It's not all in their head. It's going to say, hey, you know what, Bob, you were out there working on that unit 6 months ago, and this is what it was. Bob's not going to remember he was out there 6 months ago. He's running around fixing everything for 6 months, all these different things for 6 months. Okay. It's helping to guide them to make some better, more educated decisions faster. Again, reducing time. So again, like I said, don't be fooled that the older generation doesn't use it or love technology, because they do. They use it all the time. And they're also using AI even though they don't know they're using it. Okay. AI learns from you, whether it's on a social media site, whether you're doing Google searches, whatever. Okay. It learns from things that you do. Okay. And it also makes those suggestions for other things that you may like. I actually ordered some stuff last night. I ordered an iPad actually last night on Amazon. And I was looking at Amazon, and it always makes this recommendation. Hey, did you think about, you also might want this case? And you know what? You also might want this pen that goes with it, and blah, blah, blah. Well, I wasn't even thinking about the case. I wasn't thinking about the pen. I was focused on the iPad. But do I need those other things? Absolutely, I do. So I ordered them. That's also AI, making those suggestions, making those modern approaches to getting those things in front of you that you might not have always thought about or ever thought about. I also need X. Okay. That's how it's going to impact you. But also some of those key drivers for this revolution is, again, those predictive AI predictive analytics help you go from that proactive or reactive to proactive approach. But I look at it this way, reducing that downtime and operational downtime. Okay. How many of you have a building or two or three or whatever that's got your one piece of equipment or one failure from not being able to heat or cool your building? I hear it all the time. AI is going to start to be able to predict those things. Listen, it may not even be a monitor on those old devices, but it's going to be able to say, hey, you've gone out and fixed this thing 15 times. That could be through a work order system, through some kind of asset management system, through other systems that you're using today. Okay. But also, smart building technologies are using IoT, automation, real-time monitoring, energy efficient, and security systems. Okay, they're using buildings are getting smarter over time, but it's also this digital transformation. People going from paper to digital, you've got to go paperless because you're ingesting that information into these systems, and now it's able to help you diagnose and make some of those critical decisions, but also suggest some things to you. Also, it's helping with the workforce evolution. Think of it this way. Your team is some of them are aging out. Some of them are coming in that really don't have a lot of experience. It's helping getting those people up to speed that don't know your buildings faster, smarter, taking some of the guesswork out of knowing, what ceiling tile do I pop? What floor is this on? How many times has somebody worked on this? Picking up the phone and calling somebody over and over and over again. They're able to make more educated decisions right out of the gates from day one, hit the ground running. But it also allows you to integrate multiple different potential technologies and utilize pulling information from different things to make those better maintenance decisions. But also there's some sustainability and compliance things that you can put into practice. AI-driven energy management, data-driven decisions from supporting green initiatives, also regulatory compliance. I do a lot of work in healthcare, do a lot of work in manufacturing and higher ed that has all these different very, very strict regulations and compliance requirements. And it's going to help you stay on top of things so that you make sure that you're following those particular protocols. But AI-powered predictive maintenance from reactive to proactive, again, it says AI and IoT sensors are going to help you monitor that equipment. It's also going to help learn from those things that have been happening to help you to minimize those break fixes, those instant things are going sideways. And don't get me wrong, things are going to break. They're going to break on their timeline. But these things are going to start to give you a heads up that something's going sideways. You might want to go check that out. But it's more of a proactive approach to reduce that downtime, minimize some of those repair costs, get ahead of it, okay? But also to extend the useful life of your assets. Okay, the assets of your building, your water heaters, your boilers, your pumps, your HVAC units. Okay, all of that stuff. You want to maximize and extend the useful life of those assets. Okay, you want to be able to maintain those and keep them running as best you possibly can. But also providing those automated alert type things, giving you a heads up that something's going on. Also help you better schedule things, do timely maintenance. Also optimizing those resources, meaning optimize the number of people, number of times you're going out there and fixing that, but also improve that efficiency. The big one, I think, and this is near and dear to my heart, always is safety too. Help minimize and predict things that are going to potentially happen so that you're up and running all the time. You're running as often as you can. I always think of it from the standpoint of, HVAC unit goes down and it's controlling ORs in a hospital. Okay, that's lost revenue. Every minute, every day that those ORs are not heated or cooled means lost revenue. Well, it's the same thing with students. I live in Florida. In the middle of August, if the air goes out, there's no school in those classrooms. Okay, they have to relocate those kids. Think about how it would impact you if something broke in your building. And I always say that mentality of how many pieces or how many of your buildings are one equipment failure away from losing that function, losing the ability to heat and cool your buildings. You want to maximize the useful life of those pieces of equipment. So again, the predictive maintenance, I call them wins here, is reducing that downtime. You want to maximize the efficiency of these units, but address those things before they go to complete failure. It also, proactive maintenance is often less expensive, right? You're able to do those little things to keep that thing that's going down from spiraling. Okay, if this unit breaks and it's a chain reaction of things breaking, or it can cause additional things to break. But also it helps you improve the efficiency of your units, improve the efficiency of your buildings, but also your team. Getting the most out of your team, maximizing the team that you've got. All right. I always hear, where budgets are cut, my team's down, I'm down head count. Okay. It's given time back to your team. They're not running back and forth trying to figure stuff out. They can go out there and have a better idea what they've got to grab as far as tools, as far as supplies, as far as parts, but also, do I need help? It's going to help you predict what you need before you even go out there. So adapting to fast-paced change of facilities is a huge deal, right? And let's take a look at that. So old buildings and old ways of managing them. This is a big one for me. It's 65% of buildings still store documents and paper. These are your as-bills. These are those binders on the shelf. All right. I look at when I walk into clients or future clients, I should say, I'll walk into their building and they'll walk me back to their office and I'm looking over and there's rolls of plans here. There's a plan room over there, or I see a wall of binders. And then I go to another room and there's a whole other wall of binders or drawings. Okay. If they're drawings, that means they're in one spot. They're not in the building you're at every day. You go from building to building to building. If it means you've got to come back to that building, that's time. Okay. And then you're back and forth, back and forth. Nearly 1 in 3 buildings is over 50 years old. Old buildings means more stuff, more paper, more old equipment that's out in the field. Approximately 70% of the buildings are over 20 years old, right? Again, older buildings, older stuff, more stuff. Old buildings also means they probably changed multiple times, right? That's more piles of paper, more piles of digital files someplace, right? And we're going to jump into that here in just a second. And that's this. I took every picture you see. All right. These are plan rooms. These are racks. These are stick files. These are drawers. I see this all the time. And I oftentimes hear it's not just my team that's looking, it's my contractors are in here for 4 days trying to find the drawings, or they're trying to find a drawing and, well, you know what, that electrical set walked away with an electrician that came out and did some work 5 years ago, right? A lot of these documents are one of a kind. One, that's it. If it's lost forever. Right? What am I getting? I'm going to go back to get permit sets from the county. Where am I going to get those drawings if they're gone? Well, again, fast forward here. There's also the challenge of if something goes sideways in your building, it can also damage this. This is a true story, right? A sprinkler head burst right out in a plan room, destroyed hundreds of old blue lines, the old blue on whites, right? A bunch of them were lost. The remaining ones have been digitized, okay? They ended up finding a bunch of mold on them as well. But there were also little thumb drives that got ruined that were on a desk there. I mean, just, again, now they have instant access to what they had. But all these other companies that I talked to, they've started this transition, or they've migrated this information over to a digital format. So now they can access that stuff. The challenge is, though, scanning's not enough. Okay, scan all this documents in, that doesn't help me. But I want to point something out here, okay? Whether it's drawings in a drawer or it's drawings on a share drive someplace, that doesn't help the guy on the roof who needs access to the electrical drawings. That doesn't help the guy that's, 5 buildings away or a town away trying to access these drawings. He has to jump back in his car, jump back in the golf cart, or walk clear across campus to get back to find this stuff. No, no. There's a better way. It's 2025, okay? There's a much better way that your team can access it. And again, what I said in the very beginning when I was talking here, it's about what's accessing that information with what's in their pocket, their phone, their tablet, wherever the heck they are. And that doesn't mean it could be a work order. That could be, I need to access a drawing. I need to find the location of an HVAC unit. Or I got to pop, what ceiling tile do I pop to find that shut off? All that information, they can access it on their phone, which is in their pocket when they're walking around everywhere. That's the guy who's been on your team for 30 years. And that's the person who started 6 months ago. They can all access it. Everybody's looking at the same stuff. Current information for your building, as well as all the historical stuff that ever happened in the building, all in one spot. And we'll talk about that here in a minute. So modern facilities teams go from, again, field access of all those MEPs. They can access it wherever the heck they are. They pull their phone out of their pocket. They grab a tablet. They can see where everything is, no matter where the heck I'm at. And it's really simple. It's not rocket science here. It's not this big scary thing. And it's very similar to what you're, like I was saying at the very beginning, your team, my parents are sending me stuff all the time. It's simple stuff, pushing buttons or accessing information, being able to say, you know what, I want to see the information for this building, actually finding that building, tapping on it, and you can see all the stuff for that building, all the drawings, all the manuals, all the equipment locations, shut-off locations, all the stuff for the building, that critical building information. And you can do that today. A lot of tools are out there that do pieces and parts, but at the end of the day, what it really comes down to is having that central spot where you can access all that information, right? It's key. It's a big deal. So the answer here is, again, mapped drawings. Having access to all those drawings that you saw that were in the paper format, no, they're all right here. And matter of fact, I can even see where every renovation touched in my building, floor to floor, building to building. You can do this today. It's a big deal, okay? It saves time. I'm not in that plan room looking for drawings for 4 days, 4 hours, 4 weeks. I can find all the information that touched every part of my building in a couple of seconds, couple of clicks on my phone, taps on my phone, and I can see all of them. I don't have to just remember where that stuff is or what happened in the building. But most renovations that you do in the building means more documentation, more piles that are being added, more binders that are being added, more equipment, more shutoffs that have moved, isolation valves. All of that stuff means stuff happened, stuff changed in the building. Well, it's a compounded problem over time. The more time goes by, the older the building, the more of this stuff changes, the more of this stuff moves, and the more new stuff comes in and replaces old stuff. It's a moving target. That's facilities. But we're talking about going from the desk to the field. I always look at it as desk to mobile, but desk to the field, meaning team is sitting at a desk should be able to see the same stuff as a guy or gal in the field and make changes to that stuff and then hit save and everybody sees it. That's what we're talking about. Real-time changes, real-time access, real-time being able to talk about accessing that information, but also incorporating AI components in that, okay? Being able to see suggestions. I'm going to go work on a unit. Hey, you know what? You might want to grab this filter. Hey, you know what? We've had issues with this unit in the past. Okay, all those details associated with it. Okay, let's talk about the old way of searching versus new way too. The old way is this, right? Guys are up popping ceiling tiles. No, it's not this one. It's not that one. No, it's not that one. Great. I just popped 5 ceiling tiles until I got the one that I needed to pop to get access to that unit. Or there's I call it easy access. Well, easy access is, this is me. Okay, I was out on site mapping equipment for a client, but I'm popping ceiling tiles, but documenting where was it. Okay, you see here, I took a ladder, climbed up on a ladder, had to put another ladder up on a desk here. Okay, again, that's what we had to do. Well, this is a day in the life for the facilities team too. The units happen to be directly above those desks. Well, the only way to access them is by doing that, right? Is that efficient? Well, if I don't have a way of documenting that, then the next person is going to have to do the exact same thing. Which ceiling tile do I pop, et cetera. Again, AI is going to capture that information. It's going to help document that information, but also provide those access points and be able to see some of those. Hey, here's the photos associated with that piece of equipment. That's all incorporating technology, machine learning, AI, all into daily use in the field. Also, I hear this all the time. What ceiling tile is it? Just look for the stains in the ceiling grid. All right. Is that efficient? Well, even if I look for the stains in the ceiling grid, is it the one on the right, the one on the left? Is that directly under the pan? Again, that doesn't help me. So I just have to remember, or I'll walk around and I'll see this. Nothing on the grid or on the right, just dots. Well, which tile do I pop? What is that? I'm assuming that's hot, cold, but is that supply return up there? Is it a valve up there? Is it just reliant? I have no idea. That doesn't help me when I'm walking down a ceiling or walking down a hallway and I'm looking up and I see these dots. Why? Which tile do I pop? What is that? I have no idea. But you go from that to also this challenge here. 20 to 40% of your assets in the field have been replaced, decommissioned, moved, or new, right? This is reality, what we see all the time. Well, how many times a day is your team popping those ceiling tiles, climbing up there, suiting up, going into a particular restricted area, clean room, an OR, or whatever the case may be, just to service the stuff. But they have to go in there not knowing what they need before they go in there. They got to go in there and diagnose what it is. That's a given. But maybe AI tells me, grab some filters, or, hey, you know what? We've replaced the belt on that thing 15 times, or, you know what? A common thing that the web says that for this particular unit is X. You might want to grab that before you go out there, right? It's a big deal. It's going to help you speed up your team's time. It also will help with this, right? Knowing what filters to grab before you climb up that ladder. Even saying, hey, you know what? That key on that hatch is this one, that it's locked all the time. If you don't have that, you'll be able to see before you even climb up the ladder what key you need. That's a potential things that AI can do, is give you a heads up before you do that action. But here's the problem. People are still hunting, digging, trying to find information, and it just becomes a huge time suck, a waste of time. And your team's running around, they're busy. They're running around like crazy trying to maximize their day. AI is going to help with that, help them to not have to go down some of those rabbit holes that they do, going back and forth. And you're starting to hear a theme here with me. It's time. I want your team to get time back. That's what AI and technology is going to do. It's going to give your team some time back, minimize the times they're running back and forth. Okay. It's going to help reduce that downtime. Let's jump into some of that. This is how fast technology has changed in the field. I see this all the time. These are some of our clients. They're walking around with iPads. They're walking around with their phones. They're documenting stuff as they find stuff real time. That's huge. They're entering in make, model, serial number. We're capturing information for them too. We do site walks, but we're capturing information that's relevant for that unit, for that device. Now AI is grabbing and ingesting all that information, and it's able to start working in the background saying, okay, we've went out, worked on this unit, or hey, here's this unit over here. So when your team starts doing searches in applications, they're going to be able to find exactly where that is and see a lot of the history of what happened in just a couple of taps. That's how the power of of AI. That's the power of machine learning. That's the power that it puts in your team's pocket, in their hands as a tool, just like a wrench, like I said earlier. This is a tool that will help them make some better decisions and faster decisions. So modern facilities, really, it comes from a more sophisticated skill set. I always look at, when you're hiring people, most of the younger folks that are coming into the industry, they're born with a cell phone. Okay. They're used to technology. It's going to be easier to get them up to speed if you have these types of technologies in place. But it's also going to help with your leadership with doing some of those analysis, that deep dive data analysis of what's going on in the buildings, help them make better interpretations of that data, and also grab information from multiple sources to make those informed decisions. It also is going to help with technology integration, managing and integrating different technologies, IoT, sensor technology, building management systems, AI tools are going to start working together even more to help give you that real snapshot of what's going on in your buildings real time. Okay. Also, it's going to help with cybersecurity. It's going to help protect your buildings for some of those threats that could come up. It's going to throw up alerts. There are a bunch of different cyber tools that are out there that are going to help mitigate some of those threats that are coming in the back door to try and get access to your information. But also it's going to help you with those redundancies so that you're not limited to all your information being in one spot, where it's, if once this one part goes down, you're going to have redundant backup servers to be able to access that information and maintain that continuity of your building, but also reduce that risk. Okay. If you can't access your stuff tomorrow, and I hear this multiple times, I've heard this multiple times from different organizations where they got hit with a cyber attack. Okay. Well, now they couldn't access this system or that system. No, all of your systems should have redundancy and backed up where you can access. One goes down, great. There's another one right here. You're right. You don't miss a beat. You're up and running. But the evolving skill set for facilities teams is, again, it's that smart building systems. It's helping with HVAC, security, automation, sensor technologies, using AI, IoT, cloud-based platforms, not necessarily on-prem. Okay, you don't have to have it on site, but it helps you make some more of those data-driven decisions. Helps balance the old and the new. Okay, maintaining the old stuff. You're still going to have a mix of old stuff and new stuff, but it's going to be able to predict some of those things, even on the older buildings, because you've gone out there multiple times and worked on this, worked on that. Even if those devices don't have a sensor on them, it'll be able to predict and say, hey, you've made multiple trips out there to work on this, or multiple technicians have gone out over time. It's also going to be a workforce shift. You've got a lot of folks that are retiring out, that are leaving. So this is going to help fill that gap, that skills gap, and that getting people up to speed faster. It's going to really help with that hands-on training, meaning your team isn't going at, your new hire isn't having to figure out or guess where the heck something is. They're going to just know. And I'll give you a perfect example. One of the school clients that I've got, they actually had an air handler on a roof break that was on fire. Okay. And the fire department rolls up, calls the emergency number. Person had been on the job for 2 weeks. HVAC tech shows up. They said, we need to find the shut off for this thing. Where's the breaker for this thing? She pulls her phone out of her pocket. It's in this room right here, unlocks it. Here's a photo. It's the second breaker down on the right. They go in there, kill the power. Fire department says, how the heck did you do that? She goes, I've got access to all of my shutoffs for every school right here in an app on my phone. That's getting someone who's brand new on your team access to that critical building information. Helps reduce risk. If she wouldn't have done that, okay, and wouldn't have had access to that, think about that. Unit's on fire, right? They're not just going to dump water on a live, it's electrified. They're not going to just start dumping water on it, okay? They're trying to kill the power to put it out. But what if they didn't roll up for an hour, okay? It's just, I look at it very much so this way. The longer something's running, the longer something's on fire, more damage, more money, okay? Being able to react intelligently, being able to find the information to make that educated decision and then share it out with people is huge. It mitigates that risk, helps lower that risk, helps your team to be able to respond faster and make educated decisions. But it also will help you with, again, this skill set is help you with some of those sustainability and regulatory compliance issues that you may face at your facilities. It's going to give you some of those potential alerts. Hey, this is due. You've got to go do this, or this is late. It's going to give you those heads up of what's going on in your building. Make sure you're on top of things. It helps you with that emergency preparedness. Really, really, I cannot stress this enough, emphasizing that this will help you with your emergency response and help reduce that risk in your building. It's a big deal. So let's talk about how AI can really, again, help field teams. I touched on this a little bit, but I look at this again through that predictive lens, through that reducing breakdowns, potentially also maximizing that equipment performance, but also making those suggestions to improve that efficiency and reduce that downtime looks like this. You got a work order came in, you got to go work on this unit, and your phone, you open up your phone and it starts making some suggestions. Hey, here's the filter. Here's the AHU. Maybe there's a link there to the filter where you ordered her. Maybe it's through an inventory system, whatever. But maybe it also says, hey, this unit uses this belt, or did you know there was a recall on that unit? And then clicking there and seeing the information about that. All right. Or, there's videos on how to fix that thing that you're going up there to repair. And I always kind of look at it this way, and funny, not funny, but there's hundreds and hundreds of videos on how to do anything on YouTube. Right. I have a motorcycle, and I ordered some pipes for my motorcycle. I didn't know how to install them. There wasn't instructions in the box. I was looking on the company website, couldn't find anything quickly. That's why YouTube's my friend. I looked up YouTube. There were 20, 30 videos on how to do it. The first one was a guy talking in layman's terms how to do it. Boom, did it. And I had my pipes installed in less than an hour. Okay. That's what it can do for your facility too. Think about it. You got to replace this thermostat. You got to replace this. You got to replace that. Here's 50 videos how to do it. Some of them are from the manufacturer. Some of them are from just other technicians who've done it, and maybe they've done it faster or a better way that will eliminate some of those headaches of hey, you know what? The spec says you got to use this, but if you actually use this, it actually works faster, and you also need to uncover this other cover over here because that'll give you a better access point. You follow what I'm saying here? It's going to make those suggestions on how you can be more efficient in your job. It's a big deal. So how technology and AI enhance long-term planning is, again, makes those data-driven decisions. AI is going to analyze some of that information, analyze that historical data, and help you with some of those predictive maintenance things, but also help you with that resource allocation, with whether it's funding, whether it's people. It's going to help you make some of those better decisions. Also goes for a proactive capital planning, help you prioritize some of those investments, help you say, okay, we've got 15 units that are in the end of life window, and you might want to start adding some of these things into upgrades or replacements, or maybe even future projects that you're planning. It's going to give you some of those other, you know what, I never thought of that type of things to add into your long-term planning. It's going to help you optimize your workforce management, right size people, right size your team, but it's going to help you identify some of those. Listen, you're spending a lot of extra time and money on overtime. It might be time to start looking at this. And as a matter of fact, here's what the actual costs are associated with that to help you make those better staffing strategies. That's what AI can do. And it can do it in a second versus you trying to dig through all that stuff. It can really help you speed up that process, but also help build that justification for leadership. Also, energy and cost efficiency. It's going to be able to sensors and AI-driven things are going to start reading and being able to see how your units are running and help you optimize that, give you a heads up when things aren't running the way they're supposed to. Also help you improve and do risk assessments. AI helps you predict future failures. Also, maybe it's going to uncover some of those safety risks. It also, remember I was talking about videos and things like that. Maybe it's going to also help you by saying, hey, there's been an impact on other facilities outside of yours and even other industries that have similar problems. That's the type of things it's going to do, but it's also going to help you really hone in on those things in your sites. So impacts on emergency responsiveness is this is an impact on business continuity. Systems go down, you're down in many cases. It also can cause lost revenue. I mentioned earlier the impact on a healthcare organization or manufacturing. Same thing. I talked to a lot of manufacturers, a lot of healthcare providers that have literally Excel spreadsheets that they can monitor for every minute, every hour we're down. The cost is X. That's what this can do, is give you a heads up and be able to understand, what does it mean if we don't do something? Again, that's that emergency responsive, really forward thinking, forward leaning approach. But also the health and safety of the people in your building and outside your building. It's going to help you predict some of those things and minimize the impact on those people. Access to building and equipment information real time means you have all of the information to be able to respond when something goes sideways, but also can help you to minimize that requirement to displace some of those people. When something goes down, it can even suggest that, there's a classroom that's actually empty during this time, or maybe you can utilize other things. It's going to help you better predict and make some of those decisions on what's plan B if something goes sideways. But emergency information should be at your fingertips too. Being able to click on a building, pull my phone out of my pocket, click on a building and see everything for that building, emergency contacts, all of the emergency information, important phone numbers, what's a hierarchy, what's my EOC information, but also have floor plans, exit strategies, where's all the shutoffs for the building, all in one spot. All in that thing that's in the left-hand side of that screen there, a phone, a tablet, but also wherever you are. I talk to clients all the time that say, oh my gosh, this saved my behind. I was at home, I got a call at 2 o'clock in the morning, and I actually have one of my clients that he just called me the other day, and he said, we were digging and one of my guys actually hit a line, a main water line coming into a hospital. It didn't break through, but it cracked it, right? 3 days goes by, and at 2 o'clock in the morning, his phone rings. There's a sinkhole outside of the hospital. This thing had been running for a few days, okay? And then when that pipe burst underground, it burst, and it just made a mess. That shut the water down to the hospital. He was there for almost 24 hours. They were trying to get everything up and running. They were flushing lines. They were recharging lines. It was a mess, okay? But they were able to reroute water because they were able to pull up all of the lines, all the underground utilities, everything was there, and they knew exactly what they had to do. It took a little bit of time. Most of it was the recharging the lines and getting air out of the lines and all of that. But they were able to do, he said, if we didn't have what we have today, that would have taken me a week. Hospitals can't be down for a week. It's a critical care hospital, okay? Time is your friend. It is not your friend when it comes to being able to react to things. I look at it as a gas pump. The longer something runs, the longer something's down. It's money, money, money. But it's also the impact on those people in the building. So again, here's that story. Like I said, rooftop unit, catches on fire. Again, technician, brand new on the job, was able to locate it. That's the photo from that site. Okay. Again, school could have been down, could have burned this entire wing of the school down. She was able to access that information quickly, get it back, get the fire out. They were able to reroute some air. They were able to relocate those kids before school started on Monday. It's a big deal. Okay, so strategies for that long-term success, we're going to dive in. So again, that resource allocation. AI can help predict the future resources needed. Help you with energy consumption, keeping an eye on that. Staffing requirements, make recommendations for that. Also help you with some of those maintenance schedules, and maybe it's going to make some suggestions about making more efficient decisions with those schedules. Okay. So your team's not bouncing all over the place. Maybe it makes sense to work on these because they're in this section of the campus or section of the building first, then go back. Help you reprioritize that. Making those strategic decisions will help you with those predictive analytics by data-driven decision making. Okay. Facilities managers can be more informed about what's going on in the building. Also work on those allocations of funds, help you with suggestions on possible upgrades, expansions of those different things to make sure you're maximizing your team, maximizing the efficiency of your buildings. Okay. Sustainability, AI can optimize energy use, reduce waste, help support some of those sustainability goals within your organization by analyzing those types of patterns. It's a big deal. Okay. But also helps, AI is going to help you align your organizational goals in facilities management. Okay. Beyond just operations, AI supports sustainable cost efficiency and even tenant satisfaction if you've got tenants in your sites. It's also going to help you optimize that energy, tracks those resources, reduce that impact on the environment. It's also going to help you with cost efficiency, figuring out what tasks can be even automated. It's going to help automate some of those things too, through some of the different technologies that are available, but also help with that again, that predictive maintenance, but it's going to boost that ROI on being able to maximize your team, maximize the efficiency of your equipment across the board. And again, it goes back to that tenant satisfaction as well. Think about, I don't look at it as just tenants. It could be a rental space or it could be whatever, but tenants, flip that and it's a classroom, flip that and it's patients, doctors, it's visitors, doesn't matter. It's making your sites, helping it be more comfortable, safe, and also you're able to respond faster. It's a big deal. So let's open it up to some questions. Jennifer.
Hello. Well, David, first of all, thank you so much for giving this informative presentation about AI and other trends for the road ahead. As you mentioned, I'm excited to move on to our Q&A, and thank you to our audience for sending in some questions. Okay, so let's see. To get started, how can AI help facility teams stop reacting to breakdowns and start preventing them?
I think the easiest way to explain that is it's going to give them a heads up quicker. AI is going to start to, and machine learning are going to start to, and sensor technology are going to start to say, hey, there's something going wrong. Okay. And the closest technician is Jennifer, and Jennifer's right, the building next door. Or you know what, there's something else going on that's also, there's another unit in there. This might be related. Or you know what, the person who knows most about that is Bob, because Bob's your HVAC tech. Bob needs to go work on that. Maybe it starts to do the paging or the notification to Bob. Hey, listen, there's something going really bad on this unit over here. That's the way I kind of look at how it's going to impact the facilities field teams. It's going to really help them to be able to make those more proactive responses.
That's so exciting, and it's very much in line with kind of what I'm hearing, some of those repetitive tasks about how do you identify who I need to speak to. I don't have to take the brain energy to do it anymore. I can just handle it.
That's right.
Now, another question we have here is, what's the easiest way for teams to get instant access to building info without digging through binders or calling coworkers? So it kind of
I hope you can see it. I'm holding a phone up.
yes.
Okay. I look at it this way. Everybody on your team has a phone. They should be able to access it right here. At the end
Mhm.
of the day, I look at it as, again, I even jokingly said it's a computer in your pocket, but it is. I can do anything on my phone anymore. You've got technologies out there for controls on your HVAC systems that you can do it from home. I can do it from my car. You've got teams that are bouncing between buildings, running, and we've all seen it. Facilities guys and gals in the field techs are running everywhere, trying to, it's everything seems like it's a hot cold call, or I got a leak, or I got this. But at the end of the day, they'll be able to see what they need before they even get in the car. They'll be able to know what they need. They can call ahead and say, hey, you know what? I need you to grab these filters and meet me there. All right. So I'm not having to run all the way back there and go all the way back and forth back. Oh no, I grabbed the wrong filters. Oh no, I grabbed the wrong belt. No, but it also is going to give me a heads up that, hey, maybe I need a hand. Maybe I need somebody else to come out.
Mhm. Well, David, I have another question here that follows up perfectly on that last one. Oh, so what are the first steps for organizations to become more modern and evacuate from the paper pit?
Paper pit. I love that. Yeah, get rid of the paper. You've got to go digital, scan all that stuff in. I'll speak for our org. We digitize all the information, get it all organized, and then it's all OCR. So it's all searchable, access, it's all available. Everybody can access it wherever the heck they are, but it's organized logically so that everybody can access it. And then our team goes out and maps everything out. We map out all the assets. We map out shutoffs. We map out emergency equipment, locations of stuff. And then we take photos, capture make, model, serial number, all of that information. But then it's in that, again, that easy digestible format, so your team can react faster and know where everything is. But it's also, I actually was on a call earlier today with somebody, and I was talking to him about it. He says, so I can update this too? And I said, 100%. Whatever systems you're using, they shouldn't be static. Your buildings aren't static. Your
Yeah.
team's swapping stuff out every month, every week. Okay. They're changing out, filters. They're changing out a rooftop unit. They're changing out an exhaust fan, whatever the case may be. Things change in your building. Things break in your building. So it has to be flexible and easy to update. And also, when you update something, everybody should be seeing that update that you just made, not just in somebody's head or not just on one guy's phone. I hear this all the time. Oh, I took a photo of that. It was probably a year ago, and I see the guy. We jokingly call it the death scroll. It's the
Yeah.
scrolling through his library of photos, and oh no, that wasn't it. Oh, by the way, did you see this? This was Christmas photos of me and my family, and I'm like, oh my god. No, show me the unit that's on fire, and or whatever.
Right.
But that's what they are traditionally doing. That
Mhm.
goes away. Now
Mhm.
you click on a unit on a map. It's on a floor plan. You click on the dot or on the pin for the location of that piece of equipment, and it shows you everything. It shows you photos, videos. It shows you the manual, the warranty, all of that information. Even you can have electrical drawings or one-line drawings attached to it. A map that shows what this serves. If they've got that, that can be attached to it as well. And then links to those YouTube videos I mentioned earlier.
Perfect. Another question we have here, we have a couple. What were some of the software that you were showing, and what's that app that you were showing for the MEP drawings?
I can only speak for that. That was ours. We
Mhm.
actually map out all the MEP drawings, and that's in ours. That's part of our service and system. That's our mobile app. So you're able to access it. It layers all the drawings, so all the historical drawings that you saw that were in those plan rooms. They're all scanned in. All the digital content they've got, or all the additional digital project closeouts they've got. All the as-built are layered, but it shows where every renovation touched year over year. So it's by date, it's by project name, but it's all OCR too. So all the large format drawings are also OCR. So you can search for things in the specific drawings like you do on Google, and it actually shows, here's the drawing set, here's what building it's for. It even says discipline, and also all the detail call out. So you click on a detail and you tap on it, it takes you to the detail sheet as well. So again, that's what our system does.
Cool. That's awesome. And I know we have time, it looks like, for maybe one or two more questions.
Sure.
One I wanted to ask you, David, here is how do you get all the info into an AI platform if scanning is not in it?
Is not what? I'm sorry.
I think is not in it or not a part of it.
Yeah, I think at the end of the day, it's a migration. You've got to get all this stuff digital, scan it all in. We've got locations nationwide, but you scan everything in, or it's all organized, it's ingested into the system, and the AI and machine learning do the work. So our
Mhm.
system, it ingests all the information in, and then it's doing that in the background. It's OCRing it, it's organizing it, naming what it's supposed to be named, and putting it where it's supposed to be, but then it organizes it in such a way that it's simple, and it's that entire legacy, entire historical record for whatever's happened in the building is all there from the first drawings. I've got some of our clients have some buildings that were, late or early 1900s. Okay. So these are over 100-year-old buildings, and the original drawings that they had, I always joke that they're the old blue lines and Mylars, but I mean, we've seen some drawings that are just shredded, but that's what they have. We're scanning all that stuff in and organizing it, and now it's all there.
Perfect. So we have time, it looks like, for at least one more question. But one thing that
Great.
you mentioned, this question I think is asking in reference to is site walks. So what do you mean when you say you do site walks?
Our team comes on site and we physically walk every building. We walk every floor. We're opening virtually every door. We're walking and we're mapping out, depending on what the client has got from us, or what modules they've got from us. We have different types of modules that are for specific use cases, depending on what the client needs are. But our team goes out there and we'll map out all the mechanical equipment, all the locations. I've got clients that have a mechanical equipment list that's a mess. It's missing a bunch of stuff or it's just out of date. We're capturing what's really in the field. Use case, I always share this is I'll get a equipment list from a client from and it'll show there's supposed to be 3 or 4 pieces of equipment in a mechanical room, and I go in there and I count 20 before I've even stepped through the door. Okay, you don't know what you don't know. And a lot of the equipment that's in the list is either obsolete, it's been replaced, or they just never entered the stuff that's actually out in the field. Our team actually adds all of that information. The flip side of that is I've had a few clients, large clients actually, that they weren't confident in their list at all, and they wanted us to create a new list. So when our team goes out there, we create a new list from scratch. So we're mapping out where all the locations are, putting indicator or pins on floor plans, showing where they are, what they are, capturing photos. When I say photos, I'm not talking about a photo just from way back here. No, we're capturing photos of the serial number plates, everything, make, model, serial number. We're adding that, what rooms it in, what floors it in, what buildings it in. If it's outside, we're also doing things on site plans as well.
Perfect. Now, I do want to sneak in this one last question, but really, how long does this take to implement overall?
Where our implementation process, again, I can only speak for us, but our implementation process is typically less than 120 days. And that's in their hands. From the time we sign the agreement, we go in and pick up all the drawings if they got that module, to the time we do the site walk through training. Okay, it's less than 120 days traditionally. And it's a piece of cake because we do the work. It's very minimal impact on your team. We're out there doing the work. We're scanning the documents in, our system's organizing them, and then our team comes out and does the site walk and the training. It's very minimal impact, but also the updates and the changes that happened in the building are included. So if you renovate a building that's in our scope, we come back out and remap out that stuff and add those new drawings for all those different renovations. That's all included.
Perfect. Well, David, thank you so much for
My
answering some of
pleasure.
our questions. We have several questions we actually weren't able to get to today, but the ARC facilities team will be reaching out to our audience members individually
Yeah.
with answers to your questions.
Yeah. And we have I'm really excited about this. We have a new release that's coming out in the next couple of weeks, and it is incorporating virtually everything that I mentioned as far as AI and really, really excited about that. So look for some announcements for that. Follow us on LinkedIn, follow the podcast, and reach out to us because we're happy to share what's going on.
Perfect. Well, David, thank you for sharing that with our audience and for your presentation today. And thank you to ARC Facilities for sponsoring this webinar. A recording from today's session will be made available on our magazine's website, facilityexecutive.com. ARC Facilities will be sending a follow-up email with this recording within the next 2 business days as well. So thank you everyone for attending, and I hope you have a wonderful afternoon.